On 89.9 The Light, you're in conversation with Clayton, and joining me are the authors of the new book, Mums Who Clean. All the best advice, the hacks, the products, the quick and easy cleaning ideas. Rachel Hallett and Carly Suddy join me. How are you, Carly and Rachel?
Hi.
Good. How are you?
We are doing well, and I love this. We've got a couple of Melbourne mums who have decided to put out a book to help all of us. Before we get to the book, take us through. You are both mums. Take us through a bit of what life means for you as a mum. Rachel, maybe we start with you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a mum of two. I've got two boys. They're 4 and 5. And, mum life's busy for me. I've got, a lot of work to do. We own 2 businesses. I work from home, which really helps me. But that's sort of, busy lifestyle at the moment, being, with the little kids.
Well, and I reckon, working out of home, which a whole lot more people are doing nowadays, of course, as well as those little kids, having even the thought of a clean house is an interesting one for me. So we're definitely going to explore this a bit more. Carly, what about you for mum life?
Very similar to Rachel. I have 3 girls, 6, 4 and 2. And I work from home as well. So I have 2 businesses that I run from home as well. So it's just a lot of running around after small people making huge messes, really, and trying to keep them under control while I get my other work done. So it's interesting.
So to help me here, Carly, maybe we'll stay with you for a moment. Help me get this idea. You both got young kids and you decide, look, now's the time to do something extra and write a book. Let's not wait until I've had more of that experience and maybe they're a little bit more independent and I'll do it, maybe 10, 12, 14 or whatever, which seems like the more sensible thing to do. So why now? Why this moment?
Well, really it started because we started our Facebook groups. We started with Mums Who Organise, and that just took off really very quickly, much quicker than we expected. We, had a little party with it. Rachel and I had a little celebration when we got to 500 members, thinking, oh, yeah, we'll get 500 members, maybe we'll get 1,000. And then that one just kept going, and it's, then we had lots of requests for, different groups, and people were trying to post cleaning questions in Organise, and we're like, well, it's not really relevant to Organise, so we started Mums Who Clean, and then that one just took off even more than Mums Who Organise. It's now we hit yesterday, I think it wasn't it, Rachel, 300,000 members. So it just went crazy, and we didn't expect it at all. And then we just get a lot of private messages, people asking us, how do we do this, how do we do that? And then a publisher actually contacted us and said, would you be interested in making your chips into a book? So it's not really something that we thought of doing right now. We're not crazy people. We realise we've already got too much on our plates already. But it was, it was proposed to us, and it was just too good of an opportunity to pass up. So, it was a way we really are about helping mums, women, pretty much anyone who needs help with anything that we know something about. So being given that opportunity to give that help to so many other people, we just couldn't say no.
Yeah. Rachel, in terms of that sort of starting from that Facebook group idea and actually saying, look, this is what we're going to do. You and Carly, is it you've been friends forever? Is it you've connected in online? Tell us a bit of that story.
Yeah, so we've been friends for a few years now. So it's sort of a weird story. So Carly and I met online, but, we had mutual friends. Like I went to school with her sister-in-law, and sort of it was just all a bit weird meeting someone that close to home online. So, we just had heaps in common in other groups and commenting on the same posts, liking the same things. We just sort of started chatting between us, and realized that we're basically the same person. So
So away you go from there. Before we even get to some of these tips and hints and things like that, Rachel, the idea, as we've already said, you're both busy just in what life is, in running business and doing these things. How much extra time does it add to then have the Facebook connections? You need to be active in this sort of area, and you need to be doing that. How much time does that actually add to your world?
It's pretty much a full-time sort of commitment. Pretty much a lot of the day is spent doing that. But, I'm pretty good at carving out time for my kids and stuff. So the benefit is that I can do it as I please. So we've got a really great team of moderators that help us. They're just amazing women. So, it is a lot of work.
Yeah. Carly, I suppose the benefit that comes to you by doing that, obviously there's huge benefits for a whole host of other people as they, get tips and ideas and maybe feel connected in that regards and feel like they're not alone in a space that maybe they might be struggling with or trying to grapple with. What do you guys get out of it by running that for everybody?
I think it's just, when people comment on something and say, oh, that's really helped us, or the lovely private messages that we get just, really thanking us for what we do. It's totally worth it just knowing that we help people. Like by nature, I'm a very private person. This does not come naturally to me. When the live function came to the groups and we need to start doing those, Rachel was like, you have to do it. Come on, you can do it. And I was like, no, I can't. I'm going to vomit. Like, it just made me so nervous, the idea of, putting myself out there. It's just not who I am. So that was really hard for me to do that. So I think, just knowing that it's helping people is the main thing. It's kind of the motivation to go, when I'm going to do a live or something, it's like, okay, lots of people will watch this and lots of people will get tips from this. So you can do it. Come on. So I don't think I'd be able to do it if I didn't know it was helping people. If it was just going out there and sitting there, I would just not bother.
Yeah, fair enough too. Same for you, Rachel?
Oh, I'm probably better at putting myself out there. I sort of just, I like to show people like my real life and, because I think it's just all normal, the things that I do, but other people gain like a lot of help from just little things I do. Nothing's impressive, but, other people just haven't thought of them yet. So it really helps them. And I enjoy that also.
Yeah. Isn't it wonderful when we can just be real about life? And so often our story helps other people's story. We think we've sometimes got to get that perfect sort of facade to help somebody, but just being real often is the key that people connect in with. I love hearing that. Before we even get to, again, we are going to get to some of these hints and tips. Don't worry, everybody. We promise we're going to do some of those. But Carly, just wanting to know some of the process of going through this idea of taking something that's in a Facebook group, which is sort of in that sense, very much a group that is connected together, and trying to work out what you then put into a book, which is a completely different medium and a different way that people are going to sort of take that information in. How did you guys go through that process?
I think it really helped that the group started with just Rachel and I posting our tips. So a lot of Facebook groups start with people just opening them up and people commenting their own things, but just different members jumping in and putting their own ideas up. But when we started Mums Who Organise and Mums Who Clean, it was really Rachel and I posting all of our ideas, which is what got people in to begin with. And I think that, already having those ideas and knowing that other people hadn't thought of them or that they were helpful to other people was really very helpful in writing the book, because we just thought, how can we do this? So we both sat down individually and we wrote down how we clean our own houses and all of the steps we go through, all of the things that maybe other people haven't thought of. And then we just sort of combined them together and had a look at it. And there's a few things that Rachel did that I didn't do, and the same, I did that Rachel didn't do. So we just kind of combined it together. And also things that we have picked up from the group that we have, there's a few things in there that we've seen people do in the group that they thought was really good, and we've given it a try and gone, okay, yep, that does sort of work, and we've amended it to suit ourselves, how we think it works best. But yeah, it's really just, little things that you wouldn't think that other people haven't thought of, I think has made a big difference. And we've been told already from a lot of people who have got the book that they hadn't thought of a lot of the things that are in the book, such as, a lint roller on a lampshade or things like that. I remember I've been doing that since I was like 16 years old. When they first came out, I'm a bit obsessed with those sort of things. And I went and got this lint roller and I thought it was the best thing in the world. And I just was like, what else can I use it for? And I started using it. But when we posted it in the groups, people were like, we had never thought of that. I was like, how has no one ever thought of that? So it's things like that. You're not really aware that nobody else has thought of it, or that not many people have thought of it before. So I think that's kind of what we went through, those sort of steps of what we do and how it works. And I think it's come together pretty well.
Yeah, that's great. Rachel, in terms of when you run a group like this, you put out a book like this, is there a pressure that you put on yourself that, am I ever allowed to not have a clean house or an organized house? Like, is there this sort of pressure that you feel yourself, or are you a bit more of the, hey, life's life and there's going to be moments where that's where it is? How do you approach it?
I think that one of the reasons Carly and I are, well received within the Mums Who community is because we are just normal people, and putting it out there that we have messy houses and this is what we need to do to clean them. So, we both have busy lifestyles, and that's just how it is for us. So yeah, sometimes there is that pressure, it's got to look better than it is in reality. But then I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't really, because that's life, and that's what our mums in the group are relating to.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think it's so often those moments, isn't it? We especially in this world, this online world we're in, times we think it's got to be something, but actually, if we can just go through, well, why do I get this benefit out of it? Well, I just want to learn the benefits of the clean for my house or whatever else it is, and it doesn't have to be perfect the whole time. Great to be with a couple of Melbourne mums who have put out this book, Mums Who Clean. Carly and Rachel are going to be back with us in a couple of minutes' time. And as promised, they're going to start giving us a few of these tips and hints that they've got in this book. It's on the way next year on 89.9 The Light. 89.9 The Light. You're in conversation with Clayton and the authors of the book, I'll get it around the right way, Mums Who Clean, Rachel Hallett and Carly Suddy, joining us right now as well. A couple of Melbourne's mums who started these Facebook groups, Mums Who Organise, Mums Who Clean, and an incredible publisher decided to say, hey, why don't you put this into a book? And so that's exactly what they've done. Now, we've been teasing this enough, Carly. We've been saying that we're actually going to give some of these hints and tips. We can't give all of them. That's why there's a book, but a couple that maybe you can share with us, and then we might come to you as well, Rachel, and share a few hints and tips that people can just be thinking about as they keep their clean house.
Yep. So basically, we always suggest that having a good essentials kit for your cleaning tools is something that's always really helpful. So just having a few things on hand that makes it easier, like a long-handled duster or a cobweb broom, so you can get to your top corners, things like that. Really good cloths. They could be microfiber or glass cleaning cloths, whatever you prefer. It's not really about particular brands or things like that. It's just things that work for you, but just making sure you have those on hand instead of having to go searching for things makes it really easier to stay on top of your cleaning, and not, if you have to struggle to get out your vacuum, how often are you going to use it? Just things like that, just making sure that it's easy to get to your tools. And just thinking about, I always say think outside the box. Like, one of my favorite cleaning tips that I really use all the time, one of my favorite cleaning tools is a hairdryer. And I know everyone's like, that's not a cleaning tool, that's crazy. But it really does do a lot of things. And I don't know why more people don't use it, but I think that the things it does, like, if you've got, when you buy new appliances, it's got those stickers on the front that are like impossible to get off. You pick at them and they leave all this residue and stuff on there. If you just heat them for 30 seconds, just with a hairdryer, just till it's a bit warm, it just comes right off, because it loosens the adhesive on the back, and then you don't have to worry about things like, tea tree oil is great for getting it off as well, or eucalyptus oil, but you don't have to worry about that oily residue if you can just give it a quick heat and pick it off. Also for your toaster, you can get, how you've got the little trays in the bottom, you take them out and then you look in your toaster and it still doesn't look clean because there's crumbs around the edges and things like that. If you just give it a blast with your hairdryer in a cool setting, most of them have that option on them now where you can push the little button and you get a blast of cool air instead of hot air. You can just hit that inside your toaster with that, and it will just get all the crumbs off the side and make them sort of, I guess, like a little crumb tornado happens inside. They sort of fly around and go crazy, but they tend to settle more towards the middle once you've got them off those edges, and then you can just empty out your trays again and your toaster's looking really clean, and you don't get that horrible smell of constant burnt toast or burnt crumbs because there's nothing in there to burn.
There you go. And I mean, which kid's not going to help create a crumb tornado as well?
Yes, it's very popular with the kids.
I'd reckon. Rachel, from your perspective, a couple of key things that you think, hey, look, this is what I always love sharing.
Yeah, so one of my absolute favorites is the dishwasher tablets to clean your oven racks. I think it works so well because the orangey brown marks that get on the racks of the oven, they're so difficult to clean off, with any kind of just manual scrubbing. So all you need to do is put a towel on the bottom of your bath and fill it with hot water, and then put a few dishwasher tablets in, so one for each rack. Wrap one of the racks with foil and then pop all the racks into the bath. Soak them for at least a couple of hours, but I usually just do them overnight. And then, in the morning or after they've finished, just take them out and get like a scrubber, like, steel wool, like the soapy one, or a Scrub Daddy, any kind of scouring cloth, and just wipe. You don't have to apply pressure. You just wipe over and all those marks just literally just come straight off.
That's incredible. Can I ask, how did someone think of that? Like how did that go? Well, you know what, actually, let's go fill the bath. Let's put it in there. Let's wrap one of them in. Like, how did that sort of idea come about?
I actually do not know how this person thought of it. So this was a member who shared this. I'm not sure whether she came up with it herself or heard of it another way, but that's the beauty of the community. That stuff, it's not that important because it works,
Yeah.
So sometimes you've got to give things a try, and not everything works for everybody, but some of the genius is amazing.
Yeah, sure is. Carly, I also want to talk about, I suppose, the mindset of it. I think, when I said to my wife, I'm interviewing a couple of ladies who written this book about, cleaning, and she's like, oh, could they come into my house? Like, this sort of mindset of how we go about it. And you'd already talked about, making it accessible to get there. What is the best mindset? I don't think anyone's especially jumping out of their skin to clean. So what is the best sort of mindset? What are the things we're trying to be and should be saying to ourselves?
Honestly, that's not true. I do know a couple of people who like to clean. I'm not one of them. I don't know many people who think to themselves, oh, gee, I'd like to have a day of cleaning today. It's not really something that anybody really thinks like, it's something I want to put aside in my schedule. I don't want to go to the zoo today. I want to go do cleaning. It's just not something that is enticing. But I think if you can have a schedule, is always helpful, something that you can write down what needs to get done so that everybody in the house can clean it, because we're by no means saying that mums or women should be doing all of this cleaning. Rachel and I are the mums who clean, that's why it's called that. But I think if you have a list, it encourages everybody in the house to go, okay, what can I tick off the list? Even my kids love it because I have it printed, it's a laminated one, and they can just cross off anything that they've done with a whiteboard marker or put a tick next to it, which I think the enticement for them is more that they get to use a whiteboard marker and write on it. But, if they can say, I picked up the toys in the toy room, they can cross that off and that's done. Or, if my sister's over, she might go, okay, I'm going to fold some towels today or something, and she'll do that instead. So I think there's always, if you can have something that you can visually see that has changed how you're viewing cleaning. I think if you just got a list running over and over in your head of 50 things, it's like cleaning with everything. If you just have a list that's constantly playing in your head, it's draining and it's stressful and it makes you not want to do those things. Whereas if you can just write it down, get it out of your brain and tick it off as you go, then I think it's just going to make it so much easier. And always, I think the most important thing is if you're struggling, ask for help. There is no rule that says that you have to do everything on your own. I mean, yes, we're the mums who clean and we've got a group about cleaning and we are mums who, we wrote a book about it, but we ask for help too. We've got partners that help, we've got kids that help, we've got, like I said, my sister will come by and she'll help sometimes. If you've got the finances to it, hire a cleaner. If anything that you can do to lighten your load that makes your life less stressful, I think that's really, really important, and it makes you more positive about the things that you do have to or need to do. So I think for us, that's what the book is about. It's about sharing tips on how to get on top of your house and keep it at a maintenance level so that you're not spending 4 hours a day trying to catch up and being stressed because you're walking through toys or stuff everywhere. It's about getting that right mindset of, my house is at a certain level and I can keep on top of that. Yeah. I think that just makes all the difference.
Yeah. Rachel, can we talk a little bit more about that idea of exploring as well? Your suggestion came about we talked a couple of moments ago of somebody who tried this and added this and tried that, and suddenly there was a great idea. How much exploring should we be doing as we're cleaning? I think there's sort of these opportunities perhaps that, hey, we might try something and we might find this great thing, but there's also perhaps huge disappointment and, oh man, I've just wasted all this time and now I've still got to do all the other cleaning. I've got to go and redo it again. What's the best way to approach that exploring idea of improving and hopefully doing something a bit better with my cleaning?
That's a very interesting question. So I think, anything, that's really cool and interesting, it's born out of necessity. So, that goes for everything, whether it's, a cleaning hack or a cool invention. Someone needed to accomplish something and that's how an idea came about. So I think if you just got something that's not coming off with your normal methods, then you got to get a bit creative and sort of see what works. It helps to know a few different things, like what ingredients are in what types of things, and that can sort of give you an idea as to what things you might try. Like sometimes hairspray will get marks off places, or hand sanitizer because it's got the alcohol content. So there's, lots of different things, and, there's a lot of science to it, but I'm not going to pretend to understand most of the science.
I love it. And now, so we've done Mums Who Organise, Mums Who Clean. Is there a next area that you're looking to get involved in, Carly, or are you saying, look, right now we're fine with all of the stuff that we're doing?
I think we're pretty good with where we are at the moment. We've got 12 Facebook groups.
Oh, wow.
So I think we're kind of hit our limit at the moment. We did have 11, but now we've just created a planner group as well for people who want to be like super organised in a different way. So now we've hit 12. So I think we're pretty much at our cap at the moment for how much we can handle. So and we're also, we're always looking at new things for just Rachel and I as mums who to do versus the groups as well. So we've recently launched our website or relaunched our website. It has been a really big undertaking for us, learning how to do all of that stuff as well behind the scenes. I think there's a lot more involved than you realise when you're doing the Facebook groups or websites and stuff. You've got a lot to do behind the scenes as well. So pretty sure we're at our cap for what we can handle right now. So
it seems like you're agreeing with that too, Rachel. That's no mums who are aeronautical engineers, not about
no.
Well, I mean, there could be, but I'm not sure we could answer questions.
I do love it. Look, it's been wonderful just having a chat to you. We wish you all the best with all of those groups, with this book, Mums Who Clean, as well. And thanks for just spending a bit of time with us. I think what I do love and what you've both sort of touched off on is you're just normal mums. Like we're all just normal people. And hey, how do we help each other in that? And I think that's been very encouraging. So thank you both for your time.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Rachel and Carly, they're the authors of the book Mums Who Clean, here on 89.9 The Light.
89.9 The Light, Positive Radio.